When a senior Labour figure makes a bold claim in Parliament, the expectation is that it stands up to scrutiny. But what happens when campaigners, politicians, and even former government ministers challenge the facts? A storm is brewing over the Chagos Islands deal, with accusations of misleading statements, claims of poor consultation, and questions about the UK's negotiating stance. David Lammy finds himself at the centre of it all, and under fire. As always, we will discuss this story and react, all whilst going over all of the latest news from across the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we do have new One Keir t-shirts available on our website. Go to britishstand.com or check the link in the description. David Lammy has been accused of misleading the House of Commons over Labour's Chagos deal. A letter was sent to the Foreign Secretary by the campaign group Chagosian Voices after Labour MP Peter Lamb claimed there was evidence that statements made by Lammy in the Commons do not appear to be true. The letter and Lamb's remarks refers to Lammy's claims that the government had kept the Chagosians informed all along the way. This comes as James cleverly doubled down on criticism, claiming that Labour ministers had put themselves in a very weak negotiating position during discussions. On Monday, the former Tory Foreign Secretary claimed he always made sure that certain red lines were in place during talks. Negotiating is one thing, but I always made sure that certain red lines were in place, and if the negotiations crossed those red lines, then I wouldn't have accepted a deal, he told Times Radio. And indeed, over a year's worth of talks, I did not get to a position that I was comfortable with, which is why I never signed off a deal. He accused Labour of changing the UK's position dramatically without keeping them in the loop, adding that they had put themselves in a very weak negotiating position, which is why Mauritius keep coming back for more money and more concessions. However, a spokesman for Downing Street said the government's priority has always been to protect UK and US strategic interests. The legal letter demands Lammy correct the record on comments that the group claimed were demonstrably incorrect. It also urges the government to engage with the Chagosian people instead of simply taking decisions that are thought to be politically expedient. The backlash comes as Chagosian Voices has asked lawyers to challenge the Chagos deal. They claim that Foreign Office Minister Stephen Doughty was refusing to discuss the negotiations with them and said they hadn't even met with Lammy. Although the government said they have been speaking with Chagosians during the talks, the letter claims there was a lack of focus, agenda, or indeed information offered to those individuals directly affected by decisions taken by the British government and decisions taken without proper consultation. It adds that the government has not responded to two letters sent in October and November, which urged them to engage with the indigenous people. Lammy has previously claimed that it was difficult to get one sole view from Chagosians they are in the UK, but added that the government will continue to do all we can to support them. The agreement to hand over the Chagos Islands has been controversial following its announcement in October, with negotiations going back and forth. Meanwhile, there is speculation that US President Donald Trump may veto the deal amid fears of China and Iran gaining access to the UK-US airbase on Diego Garcia. Shadow Armed Forces Minister Marc Francois called the agreement disastrous, arguing Lammy should abandon the whole plan. However, Lammy has insisted it is a good deal, which secures the future of the airbase. In addition, the International Court of Justice ruled that the islands belong to Mauritius. A government spokesman said last week that negotiations were between the UK and Mauritius to secure full operations of the base on Diego Garcia. They added, "We recognise the importance of the islands to Chagosians and have worked to ensure this agreement reflects their interests. The UK government, under both the previous and current administration, has been engaged with Chagosians at both official and ministerial level during negotiations which first started in November 2022. As part of the agreement, we will finance a new trust fund for Mauritius to use in support of the Chagosian community. We will work with Mauritius to start a new program of visits for Chagosians to the Chagos archipelago, including Diego Garcia. And Mauritius will be free to develop a program of resettlement on the islands other than Diego Garcia." In other news, almost 5 million migrants are projected to come to the UK over the next 7 years. The UK population in total is projected to reach 72.5 million by mid-2032, up nearly 5 million from 67.6 million in mid-2022. According to new figures from the Office for National Statistics, ONS, The increase is driven almost entirely by net migration. The number in births and deaths are expected to stay similar, with around 6.8 million births offset by 6.8 million deaths. Births will increase slightly as well as deaths due to a large amount of people reaching old age from the baby boom following WU2. ONS Head of Population and Household Projections James Robards said, "The UK population is projected to grow by almost 5 million over the next decade. The driver of this growth is migration with natural change, the difference between births and deaths projected to be around zero." He added that the projections are based on current and past trends, but are not predictions of what may happen. Our latest projections also highlight an increasingly aging population, with the number of people aged over 85 projected to nearly double to 3.3 million by 2047, he said. This is in part because of the aging of the baby boom generation, as well as general increases in life expectancy. Other figures in the report show that England's population is projected to grow more quickly than other UK nations until mid-2032, increasing by 7.8% compared with 5.9% for Wales, 4.4% for Scotland, and 2.1% for Northern Ireland. The ONS also provides further future projections, covering the 25 years between mid-2022 and mid-2047, for which the total projected growth of the UK population is 8.9 million, an increase of 13.2%. This is lower than the previous 25 years from 1997 to 2022, when the population rose by around 9.3 million, or 15.9%. The number of people at state pension age is projected to rise by 1.7 million from mid-2022 and mid-2032, up from an estimated 12.0 million to 13.7 million people. This projection accounts for the planned increases in state pension age to 67 for both female and male people. By mid-2032, more than 1 in 10 of the UK population are projected to be aged 75 and over, compared with about 1 in 11 in mid-2022. Lastly, Meghan Markle has been forced to deal with another setback after a decision was taken to postpone episodes of her new podcast series. The Duchess of Sussex had already postponed the launch of her Netflix lifestyle series with Love Meghan until March 4th, as she focuses on supporting those affected by California wildfires. A series of new podcast episodes featuring Meghan has also been delayed, according to Hello. The decision comes as the Duchess prioritizes relief efforts in her home state, where wildfires have forced residents to evacuate their homes. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been actively supporting wildfire victims, distributing food parcels, and offering comfort to evacuees in Pasadena. "They just want to help," a source said, responding to claims their efforts were a PR stunt. The Duchess made an additional visit to Altadena Girls Fire Recovery, where she delivered lunch and beauty products to those affected. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.